Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? Just going to make a quick video here today discussing the sweet spot. Now, if you've been around double edge and single edge shaving for a while, this might be old news to you. But if you're just getting started out, or maybe even just considering making the switch away from a cartridge razor, this might be a new idea to you, or maybe even a little bit of a abstract concept. But hopefully I can help figure out some of that with you here today. Now, the sweet spot to me, what that means to me is the angle that I'm holding the razor in relation to my face to where it's making the blade work at its most effective. And what that means is the blade is removing the most amount of hair while at the same time giving the least amount of irritation. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. Now, to find the sweet spot, what you'll need to do is I'll start with my latest acquisition. This might be familiar to some of you guys. Might pop up in your bad dreams every now and then. But to find that sweet spot, what I like to do is I'm going to start with the handle completely parallel to the floor. Obviously, I'm not going to be cutting anything like this. The blade is nowhere near my skin. That gives me the most amount of room for error, I guess. I'm going to be able to slowly come down to where that blade is starting to cut, and I'm not going to risk hurting myself in any way. If I start down like this, to where that blade is completely flat against my skin, I know it's going to be scraping. I know I'm going to be pulling a lot of my face away with the beard, and I'd rather not deal with that. So what I do is I start with the handle parallel to the floor, and as I start to come down, I'll try to get this to where you can see it a little bit, but as I start to come down on my first stroke, what I'm going to do is slowly rock the handle down until I can start to feel the blade cut. Now when I first start to feel the blade cut, it's still up in the air, and I'm going to feel it pulling at the hair. I'm going to feel it ripping the hair out rather than making a nice, clean, smooth cut. Now as I start to come down a little further, I'll start to feel, I no longer feel that pulling. It starts to feel clean. I'm also going to hear it. The sound is going to be a lot cleaner. And I know that's kind of a tricky thing to talk about, especially over a video. But those of you who have been experimenting a little bit with double edge shaving, you'll know that it sounds a lot different than what you heard, or if you heard anything with a cartridge. And it's going to vary too. It's going to sound different if I hold the razor like this than if I hold the razor like this. So as I come down, I'm looking to feel that nice, clean, smooth cut. If I keep going down a little too far, that blade now, rather than coming down and cutting at a nice clean angle, the blade in the head of the razor has come a little too far to where now it's scraping. And like I said, I don't want to scrape. That's going to lead to irritation. It's going to lead to cuts and nicks. And again, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to come down nice and smooth, nice even rock down as I make my cut. And as I feel that sweet spot, I'm going to kind of take note. Now with this R41, I haven't used it a whole lot just yet, but I find I'm holding the handle a lot further up than I do with pretty much any of my other razors. A lot of that, in my opinion anyway, has to do with the way this head holds the blade. Is it's very flat. So if I were to hold the razor down at an angle that might give me a comfortable shave, with the blade being as flat as it is, it's scraping my face. So when I bring it up like this, I'm feeling that blade come and make it a nice, clean, smooth cut. So again, each razor is going to have a slightly different angle. Not too difficult to find though, if you give it a little patience and a little bit of time. Not only does each razor have a slightly different angle, but I also believe that each person's face is going to require a slightly different angle as well. That's why a lot of times you hear, well, somebody might say, you always need to hold your razor at a 30-degree angle, or you always need to hold that handle at a 20-degree angle. I don't think it works for every person, and it certainly doesn't work for every single razor. It's going to vary just a little bit. Not drastically, of course, but it will vary a little bit, and you're going to be the one that has to decide exactly what that sweet spot is for you. So there it is, just a really brief overview Next time you're on any of the forums and you see somebody talking about finding the sweet spot of a razor, hopefully this gives you a little bit better of an idea of what we're talking about. And if you are struggling with that one particular razor, or maybe you've just started with double edge or single edge shaving and you're at the point where you're feeling like maybe it's not for you, go ahead and try that again. Like I said, start with that razor regardless of what it is. It can even be just a nice Gillette Tech. This is a nice little fat handle tech that a lot of guys tend to start with. Start with the handle completely parallel to the floor. As you're making your first stroke, bring that handle down just a little bit and start to feel where it's cutting. And that's going to be the angle that you want to keep that razor at. But there you go. If you have anything to add, feel free to post any comments that you might want to. And of course, I will do my best to answer any questions that you might have as well. So there it is. Now, hopefully, you're a little more knowledgeable about the sweet spot, and I've armed you with a little information to help you tackle that tricky razor. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.